Hello, 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 beautiful people of the internet. My name is Whelsko, and we are having another Warzone strategy session about the positioning. Since positioning is so damn important, you can make a whole lecture series on them. But this one will be the exact antithesis of our last one, which was about basically why you have a wonderful position, that you can do whatever you want, and that you can have free reign. Today, it is about when you do not have the circle, or when you do not have the position with you, and the consequences that you will have to pay for them. This is one of those games that clearly should have gone better, that we clearly should have anticipated upon, because as you most likely will notice already if you saw the map, that's a very open field, and one of the golden rules of position is make sure to never shoot unless you have cover. So, let's talk a little bit about this zone. This is a very interesting zone. Okay, so in 1 minute the zone collapses and it probably takes another minute to go. So in other words, we have 2 minutes to get inside of the zone. Now, roads in this game, or they're completely flat. They are perfectly capable of being able to shoot people at without any trouble. So what do we have? We have a tiny wall here at the little blue thingy. What do we have here? We have some rocks here. We have some trees here. We have the ATV racing track, which has like those low concrete walls. Not a lot, but something. And here's the trees and rocks. Again, trees and rocks. Again, trees and rocks. Trees and rocks are not the type of cover that you want. A building is, of course, very, very good or better. And this is this tiny little place over here is the only real building inside the zone. So, in other words, we basically have no real hard cover where you can sit behind safely and go for it. Now, this is of course a problem because we have to get inside the circle. And as you most likely have guessed, first of all, it's a city area, especially Promenade. People love to camp Promenade. It's a fan favorite, you kind of say. So, what do we know about that? Well, we have to move. And how do you move safely? Most people don't think about all of this stuff, so simply by thinking you always have an advantage above a lot of people. There's gonna be a ton of people coming from the yellow cross over here, and there is always 1 or 2 teams coming from this direction, and most likely 1 or 2 teams that have come. And of course Promenade, so that's, let's say 3 teams, so that's 6 teams accounted for. Now that's not always the case. There's also 1 camping here probably. These are estimates, of course. Unfortunately, we don't have something like a replay system whereby we can check every little corner, but that's okay. We don't need it in order to survive. So, as soon as I saw this circle, my immediate plan was to go like this. Go here, and then like this into the zone, which would allow us basically to only have to cover 1 side. That means the enemies only can if we do this properly, we only have to deal with this side of the circle, which is, let's say, 1/3 of the circle. That's a lot less to deal with if you do it like that, instead of if you were, let's say, at this position over here. Then you have to deal with basically everything that is not in the yellow circle, and that's a lot more to deal with the circle. In general, you want to be dealing with as less as possible inside a circle. If you can do that, well, in the big circles it's almost impossible, of course, but in the tiny circles, that's the ideal way to do it. So, here we go on the adventure. And of course, I try to ping and try to check, because that blue ping, in hindsight, it's not really the best. Because I mean, the trees give cover, but it's not that much. And here were apparently a lot of fightings. So being a vulture and going for scraps if people have fought is also always a nice idea. If you have the time, like if it takes 10 extra seconds and it's not gonna cost you anything, then it's always worth doing. Always, because you know, 8 out of 10 you might not find a lot of useful stuff, but those few times you do, you're gonna be very, very grateful. And of course, here we try to get to the zone as quickly as possible. And still in my head, inside this game, I was still like, "Oh, we gotta go south. We gotta go south." You know, the blue marker is the objective, and there is like a tiny military checkpoint over there that you can use as cover. So that being said, there's one more buy station in our way. It's always worth going for those if you can. And here, of course, we basically only go for a few extra sets of plates. There is apparently somebody who just bought. My teammate deals with it. I don't even have to see him. Again, super handy because a free UAV. And of course, this is one of the problems that you have to care for because it's not necessarily your fault, but it is how the game is designed. Yeah, first of all, like this thing, the confirm notice. I mean, come on, man. Like, if you add things like skill-based matchmaking in this game, like, why would you do something like that? Okay, misclicks will happen, but guess what? In the store, where you buy items with cut points, these misclick items do not appear. It's just if you press purchase, boom, you purchased. That's a different day. We got a free UAV from this dude, perfect. And this is intel that is, of course, very valuable. If there's one or two or just a few amount of buildings inside the circle, you can always safely assume that there's somebody in here. And here is the here is the first problem that I had in this game, or at least that made us lose. These guys are going like this. And we have to go like this. It's the first thing that went wrong in the game. The very first, it's the very first thing that made us lose this game. So we buy plates. Always got to be stacked up on plates. Now that there's 8, it's quite nice. And now you can also hold the armor box, or what is it? So, and as you will, the blue guys have to cross. And basically, according to my team, to come as soon as possible, because of course, as you can see here, like this is the military checkpoint that I mentioned earlier. This is the goal, of course. And then you have like a nice little slope behind this blue line, and a lot of rocks, and of course trees, and of course one side to cover. So it's a better advantage position. And of course, here I know it's basically too late. So my only plan is to get cover, and this is basically the only thing you have, because if you're gonna have to fight, you're gonna have to fight. Also, this is the AX50. Never play with that thing. I find it, I mean, HDR is superior in almost any other way, so why bother with this thing? But of course, I came from the Gulag. I didn't have a lot of choice. You gotta play with what you have, not what you want to play with. And here, of course, I'm looking for the UAV guys. Boom, that's one. And as you most likely can see, like around here, there's gonna be a peer dude. My teammate just got knocked. Ah, yeah, did you see him? So that's first of all something I didn't realize. And of course, here I'm trying to miss the shot. If I hit that shot, that might have been a game changer, and then we would have had a way better chance. And here, of course, they use the edge of the gas. Very smart. Like these guys that we were up against, they were very good. They knew how to play. I think it's not in this recording, but I remember vaguely out of my head that one of them had 15 kills. 15 kills is, you know, not a lot of people. You know, there are a lot of people in this game that have most kills like 7 or something. So 15, that's getting somewhere. And then of course his team at like 5 something. So they knew what to do, and they also were playing the edge. So a good player with a good position is almost impossible to beat. That's why you have to, it's like in chess, you know, you have to think a few steps ahead and you will get there. So they use the edge of the zone to, you know, make it harder for me to spot. And now we're in a very particular position. Now we are extremely, let's say, screwed. Of course, red ping just shot me. They finished my teammate with a precision airstrike, so they really want to do that. No clue what that was. Let's rewind that back. But the precision airstrike, they knew they had one of us knock. And as you can see, with precision airstrikes, I'll draw a arrow. You can basically trace exactly where they came from and where they are going. If you can basically imagine that in your head, you basically draw a line from where they start to where they end, because it's always a straight line, and then you know that, aha, here at blue, or at the edge of blue, like here, that's where they shot the arrow. That's where they shot the precision airstrike, and that's where you know there is a team. This also happens if you don't know the team, or if you with a cluster strike, you can know the direction, or at least the proximity of the position of a enemy. So they use precision airstrike to finish. A little bit overkill, I would say. Is that a dude? Wait, I think that's a I think that's a guy. Oh well. So, trying to juke again is almost impossible. Most likely 3 of them were aiming at me, can't even see it. Also, they're on the edge of the gas. I don't know if we are. Of course, my teammates get me back, risky revive, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And of course, this is you can attribute this to bad luck. I personally attribute it to we should have left earlier, because it's hard to see, but clearly these buildings. If we were there while they were pushing in, the team that just shot my teammate and me up, then we would have hold, and then it would have been a fair or a better fight, not necessarily a fair fight. But now they have like this blue area of the map all for themselves, and yeah, what do we have? We have a tiny little rock formation at yellow. And then of course we have to keep in mind that here at pink, zit. No. Let's put it better. Like everything else is unknown territory and has a vision most likely on us. That doesn't mean they will shoot, but as you can probably see, this is not a position you want to be in. This is not how you want to deal with stuff, because I mean, how and you just can't. If there's like 10 people, or let's keep it simple. Let's say there's 6 people aiming at them. Theoretically speaking, you would have to juke 6 people's bullets and then hit them one by one, all in the head. Even the best players will have a very hard time playing on this position. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. You can always get out of a sticky situation. Always. You just have to believe. You just have to think. And sometimes in sticky situations, you have to do something very earlier. A little bit earlier. But in this case, we do not have any room to make any type of mistakes, or it's over. So, that feels bad. A very big feels bad, because whoopa, this is the shortest path to the zone, but it's also the path we have to travel. There's no way around it. Luckily for us, however, there is like a little slope here, so if we play our cards right, we can use this one. But then again, we have to get to over, towards blue, and that's an angle to cross, That's a very shitty position to be in. And of course, being aware, or at least one teammate being aware of at all times of the zone and the positioning is very important. Again, here, can't do much, can't even ping because of the trees. And of course I tried to do the head glitch, and as you saw, I was aiming at the wrong spot. The guy was aiming pre-holding the angle. Again, almost impossible to do anything about it. Luckily I'm safe here from my teammate, but still, my teammate can't do much. My oldest teammate got back from the gulag, went for the loadout that you saw in the middle of the circle, so there you saw it, I hope. Let's rewind it back. So basically my teammate, the idea was that he took a loadout and went straight towards those guys to get a crossfire. As you can see, that didn't pan out. And sometimes, people make mistakes and mates do stupid things, and then it's, GG. My teammate, my older teammate Robin here got shot as well. So, what are you gonna do about it? Well, if we left earlier, we would have fixed. The early bird gets the worm, I think the expression is. And here we basically have to wait until the zone touches us, which is not bad thing. Ooh, but that was a nutty shot though. Um, Luckily, the gas mask is a opportunity for making all kinds of plays, and sometimes, like this, when the gas mask, the animation plays, always make sure to stick in the zone unless you're absolutely sure you don't have to fight. Because if I was aiming at this and the gas mask went off when I needed to shoot, then I would be raging mad. Ooh, look at this, the branches in the way. Oof, boom. And this is of course creates an opening. This is one of those moments, I think in the very first strategy session in Warzone that we did this, those type of openings, oh man, that's when you gotta go. That's when you gotta move. Because then they're distracted. Either they go for finishing us, uh, which is possible, or they go for the teammate. Because don't forget, the guys that were shooting us are not in the zone either. So that's why this opening is so important. Of course, trying to choke city. And the problem here is, of course, they have like this little slope, and we can't really see them that much. We also have like a little slope. I mean, this is not the type of cover that you clearly want to be in. It's way too open, way too many, too little breathing room. The more breathing room you have in cover, the easier your game will play. And of course, here we're looking for them. And here I lost them. I had no clue where they are. And now I'm wasting time. And in this case, should have went straight to the zone. Straight to the zone. Not take a break. Straight to the zone. Then I would have made it. Because don't forget, I only have 2 ticks left. And again, pinging, trying to get through. Trying to find the guys. Might not even be able to see them. Luckily, when you watch your own recordings back, it's way easier. As you can see, a random 84 coming by. And that's the problem with Call of Duty players. I've also noticed that they always start moving too late. Always. Here at Orange, there's been a team spotted trying to get cover. Again, like, where can you get cover? I mean, the trees you can have, and like the loadout chest, but the loadout chest is a very, very, very dangerous move. Boom. That's one guy. That's the guy of earlier. So I think they had like a slope if they moved like along the out of the zone, what do you call it, line that we basically couldn't. Like the black line was basically a line of sight cover, so we couldn't see them. And of course now they are fighting with the guys at orange, so that's good for us, super good even. And what do you know? They spotted us. Also a little bit unfortunate with the timing, and sometimes you get you have those things where you make mistakes, and on top of that there is some unfortunate timing because I don't know if you look, but like in game also, like he was clearly running. Oh, wrong color. Oh, wrong color. He was clearly running like that, and as soon as like he hit the branch, yeah, he was basically aiming at me. So that took me a little bit off guard, although he was fairly good. He headshotted me. And then of course, what the excellent play that also showed why they were so good. One moves like this and one move like this, and what you create then is basically, like I said, the no breathing room behind cover. Like if good players do that, then you're completely screwed. And as you probably noticed, boom, that's where I died. So we got 1, 2. Oh, that's wrong. 2, 3 players straight at me. And that's yeah, that's how we died. Now me and my team probably could have made a little bit better plays. Again, I didn't have perks. I was working with the Gulag, and maybe they had like a UAV or something, which I was definitely visible for. But you can probably clearly see why this is a clear example of why the consequences of having a bad position. But let's go to example number 2. Okay, so the very funny example that I have for you here is, there will be another example later, but this one is just, let's put it this way, comedic timing. So we are in the boneyard, as you can see. We were just fighting another team that was fighting another team, so a good old third party. This was before the Renetti nerf, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, okay, let's see here. It's gonna start any second now. So, As you can clearly see, nothing at all. I'm trying to look around. I'm, a little bit paying attention. Then I'm basically opening the thingy, and I accidentally fire my, what do you call it, my Renetti. Start to reload, and what do you know? What do you know? Caught off guard. Clean as can be. He got me. And now, is this a bad thing? Well, yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, and he even gets number 2. So, yeah. You can see how the comedic timing of of that one was very nice. And the reason he probably got me here is a heartbeat. Oh no, you're like I went just behind the wall. And then, of course, I came back. And then, of course, he sprayed, and my teammate was just standing next to me. So, for that guy, that was extremely good timing. Now, luckily for us, he just died. But we did waste 2 self-revives on that dude, and 1 set of perks. So, to say he did a bad job is an understatement. Like, he was solo, and he definitely made us work for, gave us a run for our money. Quite literally in this case. But things like that happen, and luckily that's why it's a team game. If your team is up for the job, they will get you covered. But as you can probably clearly see, I was caught off guard, didn't have the guns that I was, basically I was reloading, and I didn't have the range for it. And that guy had an M13, so good for him. So this is a very interesting game overall, because it's clear with full of these examples of what do you call it, of good and bad positioning, both from us and from other players. And here, of course, we see 1, 2 ping, always live ping. The live ping is so ridiculously broken. To be honest, it's a little bit, if you're a hardcore player that prefers realism, it's definitely a deal breaker. But, basically you can have like a wall hack to it like that for 2 or 3 seconds behind it. So it's definitely worth the, what do you call it. And here, of course, spraying M13, that's just clean spraying. Now, this guy, he was very good. That guy that I pinged was very annoying to deal with. We couldn't do much about him. So he played his course well. But I also know, like, that guy, he's still shooting at me. So let's do it in pink. He's shooting there, his teammate's still shooting there, and we are like standing in the middle of it, to crossfire. Now, luckily, the crossfire is not that bad, because basically we're head glitching. We're only showing our heads a little bit. So, and of course, we shoot a little bit. Here, I'm trying to get angles. We all try to get angles and shoot them. It's not perfect, but bada bing, bada boom. The circle is touching the exact spot of the good guy that was shooting us over here. So, and here, of course, we have clean. We get shooting. In this case, like it's shoot, duck, and of course here, bam. I can simply spray them down, 2 down, and that's gonna be an elimination later, because they're in the middle of the zone and they can't do anything about it. And of course, train station roof is always a very popular spot. Keep that inside your mind. Always a very popular spot. You gotta be careful about it. So as soon as you are like shooting on this, it's also huge. So in this case, I know that like, okay, we got those guys down. This side is cleared, but we came from the other side. But the other side, you gotta keep in mind. You gotta have covered. And of course, here is the nail in the coffin. Is that the right expression? Probably not. But here, of course, here you have him. 1. I think 2 is already over there. So luckily, I knew exactly to expect them, and managing your expectations. Never assume somebody's gonna be somewhere. Always anticipate, because assuming basically locks out any other possibilities, but anticipating basically prepares you for one set of events. And here, of course, they line up perfectly. And of course, that's 2 armor cracks. It's a very dangerous situation, because 2 guys are aiming and 1 guy is pushing you. When both armor is cracked, cheeky C4s. C4s are really cheeky in this game. And of course, here I'm looking for number 3. 1 did self-revive, I think, or didn't get down. And again, very clean, very simple. Not too much to wonder or to think about. And of course, now we come to back to the real stuff, the circle. So this is just two small examples of anticipating an enemy position, pushing an enemy position, and of course why train station roof is so seriously broken, because there's only 1, 2, 3 entrances that I know that are not from the air that you can go through. And of course, boom, you get even shots from the air itself. I didn't anticipate that. That's a bad call for me. Or I didn't prepare for it. And here, of course, I'm pushing, I'm telling my team, get out, get out, get out, don't fight him. Naturally, they have to like shoot back a little bit, but it's not worth the hassle with this guy. And then, of course, we get to the next circle, and the next circle is where it gets really interesting. Yeah. So we buy UAV. It's always handy late in the circle to have an overview. A lot of people run Ghost, so this is not always as accurate as it can be. And that's something you have to keep in mind. But here one dropped for his loadout. Wasn't the right call for because we had UAV. Get a pause. Okay, this circle is very interesting. We got one team over here, which is again a roofed building. It's pretty broken, and we got these little buildings over here, and we got these. They're like open fields in between them. They're not completely open fields, but they are generally speaking open fields. And of course, this is a very tricky place to be in the map, and we of course have to go. We have two different real routes, or three basically. One is this, but as you can probably see, these guys. What do you call it? Give me pink. Then basically those three circles would be able to shoot if we run through yellow. Either we push these guys on this side, but if the zone lands there somewhere else, then we have to deal with them later, which is bad. So I thought of opting to go like this in the hopes that that would save us. But since this is a video about how things went wrong, you probably guessed the answer. And of course we have to deal with this guy at the buy station. So we prepare to go. Getting some plates. The guys that I mentioned earlier were shooting. This is the green marker. We pinged them again, and this is the circle. This is probably where I made the wrong call to again go like this, like around. And the problem here is, of course, it's like it might be hard to know exactly on the map where it is, but it's like a very high retainer wall with like a fence. So basically the only way to get up is this, or like around here. It has to be around here, like this, which is already a dangerous premise, but you can get up this way with parkouring. And then of course yeah, just stay on the low ground. That was also a possibility. And of course I made probably the wrong call. Stupid. But again, you know, it's stuff like that happens. You make the wrong call, especially in a high tense game, trying to get them plates back. Green again is shooting. Its problem is, of course, with this one. Green was having 3 shots at us, and I have no idea why. And that's something I didn't anticipate, but assumed. You know, the difference between assuming and anticipating. So again, Sly trying to juke City. Again, blue is a target house, entering from green, because green at green marker there's like a big wall. So that's basically where I want to hide and get inside. Up, slide, check your corners. The original guys, the most north of the bunch, these guys could still see us apparently from here. That's also something I didn't anticipate. And of course, as you probably seen, this is the retainer wall that I meant. And in essence, it's a very good thing to sit behind, but not if they know you're there. And here is one of the crucial mistakes, I wouldn't necessarily say, but 1, 2, no, almost timing. Basically, what happened was these guys, the roof campers that I mentioned earlier, they are on the downslope and they have to push up towards those buildings next to hills, or we call it Grove City, the circle, and then of course you have the basically where blue marker is. So they can't see us, but these guys at pink can, and they only can shoot from the roof. And I expected that if they were sitting there, that at least somebody from Blue Marker would shoot at them, but that's probably asked too much. And then of course he called back and basically was running headshots, so good for them. But sometimes I don't get why people don't get shot and people do. So we have to revive. I have to go. The buddies are going around closer. I'm sneaking around because you can't basically do anything and then go like this because of the guys that were shooting. So here I try to get a cover, and of course the beautiful sound in this game. Let's see if we heard them through normal audio. I want to hear this. Did you hear anything of steps? I didn't, and I boosted the volume. So again, one beautiful place why audio is super important in your game. And of course, my friend got popped. I hit him, C4'd, and of course a grenade pop up. Nothing too fancy. The Nido there downed him, and boom. Again, now we got made a lot of noise. People know where we are. The other guys that were sniping still know where we are, and of course we are in the zone and we are having to push. So in other words, these guys now know where we are. These guys already knew where we are. That a little fucker here decided to stay here and not go for the win, instead wanting to kill us in the middle of an open field, because that was a fantastic idea. The game audio bugged out completely, so we get that going against us. And of course the zone is pushing in like this. So what you essentially create is a triangle of fuckery of people going 1, 2, 3. And what do you think is going to be the result of that? It's not good. In hindsight, even the one of the better plays might have been to basically go that route. But then again, I didn't know that this circle was going to be there. If I did my recons, for example, as we talked about in the previous video, then I might have. But then again, if you're not going pro and you do every game only recons before you 10 minutes of recons before you start fighting, that's not worth. And basically, these buses are our only deal of cover. And of course, these sniper guys are still aiming at us. No clue why they didn't get shot, because at least somebody at this roof exactly on the minimap, would be able to spot them. So here we're frantically trying. Up, my mate's behind my mate is behind a stone. That's good play of him. But then again, he couldn't do much. Because again, if you have to run like that, always go from cover to cover to cover. And then again, maybe if I had an HDR or something, I would be able to contest it, but I went with a very more up close and personal loadout, which basically did this badly. And of course, what can you do from here? Like, nothing. And of course, 1 window, 2 window, 3 window. I think here you maybe can see 1. So that's at least 4 windows that I'm looking at. And again, the zone is still pushing. I have 15 seconds. Maybe if I like proned here behind the rock for 15 seconds and then or 10 seconds, run in. So what we have now is this. It's too much. Always have to handle one step at a time. If you have to handle more, then it's over. And of course, I'm not doing this with full HP, which also is, especially in this game, a bad thingy. Do you hopefully understand what I mean? It's like overload. The more pro you are, the more the items you can handle at once, or the more fights, let's say. But even the best of the best can't do nothing if they have 10 noobs shooting at them from 10 different directions. And of course, here we get sniped from a sniper. And now I'm curious if we can still see the spectate. And don't interest this. Come, scoreboard. Again, this is not necessarily a bad game. So, isn't this fascinating? This guy on this roof shot us. This guy in the middle of the circle decided to shoot us in the open field. And look at this. Clear vision on the roof where those guys were shooting us from. Now, why doesn't this guy shoot those? Why doesn't he shoot them? Because, you know, a lot of times you will notice with snipers, unless they're, you know, uh, very how shall I put this, experienced in this game. A lot of snipers are always tunnel vision. They're like hard scoped in, and literally that's the way our mind works. Like one of the beautiful things about our eyes is because we have a very horizontal grid that we can look at, or a horizontal field of view. But a tunnel, like with the sniper scope, one eye closed, bop, and that's all you see. So why wasn't he shooting them? Well, I will tell you exactly why he wasn't shooting them. Because as you look here, Necrosis is an absolute terrible weapon in this game. It's the Holger 26 or something, that weapon. Absolute trash, never use it. Not even worth picking up from the account, even early game. So basically he didn't have the means, and of course his team was already deaded. So he couldn't do much, he basically didn't have anything to fight with. And if you see a stim in Warzone, that means either one of two things. He's absolute the worst of the worst players and has absolutely no clue what he's doing. And with worst, I mean, bad skill, not like worst in an evil way or something. There are people that only play one game a week, and that's perfectly fine. But people like me are a little bit too hardcore and try to go with too much, and that's why we are talking again for almost an hour about the exact how to improve better. So I'm not really mad, but again, it's like one of these. In the heat of the moment, I wouldn't say I was like super pissed, but it really was like, like a frustration that had to be let out. But if we knew the circle, if I knew the circle, I would have went to pink from the beginning. In theory, like, to be honest, the shortest path is, generally speaking, the path with the least resistance. And the path with the least resistance, if you can, you gotta take. But the least resistance doesn't always mean the shortest. It can mean the shortest. In this case, it was the shortest. But I thought in this case it would be the longest. And the path of the least, because you can't fight, you can't dump 8 plates in every fight if you don't recoup those 8 plates. Then it's completely useless. Then it's absolutely doesn't make any sense to go that route, to have that fight almost, because unless you want kills that badly, because if you don't have plates for the next fight, I mean, then you're not playing a Battle Royale, right? So, but if we did this, then we would have captured this building, and that building would have been absolutely safe, because for one, we would be able to easily, or more easily, contest the guys on, the sniper guys, that were sitting in the roof camping. This game also promotes power positions really well. And with power position, we basically mean a position with, a lot of power. What that means is simply a high-rise building in the middle of downtown where nobody can get to without a helicopter, and where the stairs are full of proximity mines, so stuff like that. The developers, I thought, really wanted that, and to be honest, as a strategist, I also really like that. No clue what he's doing, though. I wouldn't have contested that. But let's talk a little bit more. Now, this, to be honest, this is actually a very interesting circle, but it's one of those almost no cover. Now, the thing was, though, if we took this one, we would have the most cover. No, except for this guy. Except for this Irvinas, he would have been able to stay on his roof with a little bit. Now, if somebody was below him, and they threw C4, bam, then he would be dead. So that's how he would be countered, because he would not have a lot of breathing room on top of this building, not a lot. So that being said, like, he would be in a great position. Then again, if 3 guys were like aiming down below here, they would hear. Now I'm actually kind of regretting that I didn't spectate longer to see what's going on. But in general, even if this would still be the better circle because it's with the downward slope, and this is the high ground, and everything in blue is the low ground. But then again, there's like a truck here with cover, and if it's one of those trucks, you're gonna have to excuse me for my shitty drawing skills, but there's like one of those trucks where you can hop in the back like that. And if that is the truck that is Gotta finish him, like handle on door. And some random stuff here. If it's one of those trucks, and this side is north, so that would be here, the north side, yeah, then it would be a very broken thing, because you can basically sit in those trucks and almost nothing can touch you unless they push close, so they can't RPG spam you or something like that, which is super, super, super nice. But then again, if they peep or they throw it from this side, then you're absolutely screwed. Or it might have been a simple truck, I can't really say. But my guess is there's 6 teams alive, so... And then again, there would be pushing a team here, there would be Irvanas, there would be a team pushing here, there would be a team pushing here, and there would be a team pushing here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and then... Yeah, most likely another one here. That's my prediction of the whole matter. But again, it would have been a very scary situation, and most likely it's one of those where basically the gas is a better position to be in than the actual circle. So, but that being said, this was Whelsko with another Warzone strategy session, whereby we talk, of course, about the consequences and why a bad position can ruin your game. And as you can clearly see, I gave you 3 or 4 examples of why a bad position can definitely mess you up a little bit. So I really hope you enjoyed those. I really hope you enjoyed those. Leave me some feedback, leave me some tips. Let's talk about it in the comments. I hope to see you in the next one. Whelsko, signing off.